Record. Okie dokie, gang. Let us go. Oops, no, camera, do not fall over. Let us get started. Let's come down to lie all the way down on our backs because it is Sunday and it's a chill day. So if you've got cushions to hand or a stuffed animal in my case, make sure we've got them to hand because we'll use them later. Hand to heart center, hand to tummy. And let's take the world's biggest breath in. Huge breath in. Feeling it fill into your tummy. And exhale. Let it all go. Have a little shake. Loosen tension. Big breath in. And exhale. Shake it all the way out. Let's bring our hands to heart center. As we inhale this time, I'm going to reach your fingertips overhead, lengthen into our toes. Lengthening, creating as long as the longness as we can. And then exhale, flex the feet, bring the arms all the way down. And again, inhale. Take everything as long can be. Little wiggle, stillness. And then exhale. Flex the feet, bring the arms down. Fabulous. Got 3 more. And then exhale. Inhale. And then exhale. You on there. Final time, taking it long, big inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring those knees into the chest, hug the knees in, all the way in. And then we can create those little circles with the knees one way. Keep the knees and ankles glued together. Just a gentle massage of that lower back. Now let's take it in the opposite direction. Trying to keep that breath as low and as slow as we can. Brilliant. From there, let's just hold on to the legs by the backs of the thighs. Interlacing the fingers, and we're just going to gently circle those ankles one way. And then the other. Breathe through. Yes. And from there we've got choices. We can either bring our ankles and knees back together and circle together, or we can keep our ankles together and open those knees apart, creating those great big gynecological circles. Inhale takes one great big circle. And then the exhale takes the next. Fabulous. So let's take it in reverse. Final 2 breath cycles. And at the end of this next breath cycle, we're going to release the feet to the floor one at a time, taking the arms wide to the side. Let's take our first supine twist. Keeping the ankles and the knees about hip distance apart, let them roll all the way over to the left-hand side. Taking our gaze all the way over to the right. The right ear is turned to the ground and we're looking at those fingertips. the knees are probably nowhere near the floor, and that's good. And remember, you can always support the underneath thigh with block, with a cushion. That feels more comfortable. And just have a shove with your shoulders. You're starting to tense up again. Fabulous. And then pressure to the feet. Bring the nose to the ceiling. Exhale, bring the knees to the ceiling. And let's take it to the other side. Yes. And then bring that nose to the center, pressing into the feet, bring the knees all the way to the center. Let's take it long. Take the arms all the way overhead, legs low. Let's take our first Pradana. Take those feet over to the left-hand side and then the body over to the left-hand side. Making awareness of the fact if your lower back is not comfortable, keep the feet in the center of the mat and just stretch over your upper half. If it doesn't feel great for your shoulders, then just bring your hands across your body. And then gently straighten our banana. Let's take it all the way over to the other side. And then gently straighten that banana all the way up. And let's take a gentle roll all the way over onto our tummies. Now in another session, we're going to play around with rolling because we haven't done that absolutely ages. And that's always lovely for the body. Take the arms long, take the legs long, have a gentle wiggle. Make sure the lower back feels comfortable. If not, place a cushion underneath it. From here, let's take it into our first little baby sphinx. And I mean baby, it's morning. Let's just take a slide the elbows towards the shoulders, but keep them well away. Keep the hips anchored down, the lower part of the knickers anchored down. Let's just stretch that tummy slightly forward and just lift it fractionally off the mat. The head's nice and long, neck's nice and long. Fingertips are turned out slightly. Over here, we're just going to turn the nose all the way up to the left shoulder. And then bring it down to the center. The next exhale takes it all the way up to the right shoulder. And bring it all the way down. And we'll turn each side. Exhale up to the left. Inhale to the lower. Exhale up to the right. And then release the body all the way down. Fabulous. From here, we're gently going to tuck those toes underneath, bringing the hands back under our body supporters as we exhale and press up into our little table. We come to our tabletop position. I just have a gentle wiggle all the way around. We're going to turn our hands, and we're going to turn our hands out to 9 o'clock and to 3 o'clock. Just gentle sway side to side, backwards and forwards. Thinking about pressing into those fingertips, into those knuckles. As we exhale next, can we actually lift ourselves up onto our knickers, onto our knuckles? Don't press into the thumb's elevated, but just up onto our knuckles and our fingertips. And then lower ourselves all the way down, but now press everything into the ground. You should find out that hollow just underneath the palm of your hand, and the weight comes off the back of the wrist. That is, from here, we're going to turn 1 to 12 o'clock. We're going to turn 1 round to 6 o'clock. Now have a think about your elbow creases. They're kind of like smiling towards where the other one should be, and one smiling to the front of the mat. Now, if this is lemon squeezy easy for you, you can bend the arm that is at 6 o'clock. Then just think, are you actually accidentally curling your tail feathers underneath? Can you lengthen your tail feathers out so you get a nice long back? And we've got that breath in, and that breath out. Checking on the elbow crease, that the other one would be smiling at its friend. Brilliant. And let's take that one back to 12, turning this one back to 6. And just seeing how different both feel. One's tighter, one's looser. It could be both the same. And tuck those tail feathers and make sure you've got that nice long spine. Just one more breath cycle here. And then we're going to turn the hands back. Now, if we can, and if it feels comfortable, we're going to turn the back of one hand all the way over, so it's resting. Now, some people have got a great deal of flexibility and enjoy turning both of the backs of the hands over at the same time. That is not my Sunday vibe, but if you would like to, feel free to do so. Now check the elbow crease of the fingers that are pointing towards 12 o'clock as it suddenly whacks round to the front of the mat. It's not being friendly to its friend. Brilliant. And turn that one back over, and let's turn this one over. If we can, try and lengthen up through the shoulders so we're not bending the elbows down. We're lengthening up, lengthening into those tail feathers. A gentle rock backwards and forwards. Brilliant. And then gently unravel. And from here, we're going to take it all the way over onto our tail feathers. Going to sit however you want to. Remember, use a cushion, use a block, whatever tickles your fancy. We're just going to take the hands to heart center. Press it equally into thumbs and little fingers. Let's shove those shoulders all the way back and down. And from here, we're going to turn it. And we're going to turn it so the thumbs touch, but it's the backs of the hands are together. And we're going to slide it down to the backs of the wrist. They're still together, but we're trying to get it sort of elbow and wrist more or less in line. And there'll be days when that feels good, and there'll be days when your fingers are practically picking your nose. So that's good. Well, not the picking the nose bit, but them being higher. From there, we're going to inhale, reach it out long, head full between the elbows. Just gently cap that spine. Exhale, Turn those fingertips all the way underneath. Sitting up tall. And again, inhale. Take it long. Keeping back the hands together. Exhale. Turn it all the way up. Sitting as tall as we can. Let the shoulders slide down. 2 more breath cycles. Taking it long. Now I wiggle. You don't have to wiggle. You can be totally still and do this. Take it long. And breathe all the way up. Brilliant. And from here, we're going to bring the backs of the hands together. Interlace those fingers and bring the elbows together. Just gently move the wrist one way and then move the wrist the other. Fabulous. From here, we're going to take that Mexican way. We're moving through the joints of the knuckles, of the fingers. And take it in the opposite direction. And there might be the odd crack, might be an odd crunch, and that's probably normal. Brilliant. And let's interlace the fingers. Inhale, reach it high to the sky. Stretch them up as high as we can. And then exhale, let the right all the way down, interlacing them behind our backs, just stretching away. As we stretch them away, we can let that head loll all the way forward. Inhale, draw a line with it up towards the ceiling. And exhale, let it go. And again, inhale, draw a line. Exhale, let it loll, let the fingers release all the way around. Let's anchor one hand to the ground. Let's inhale, reach up high, take it over into a seated vibration. Just gently rotating that wrist. One way. Inhale, all the way back up. I've got the yawns now. Stretch it high. And then take it over. Keeping both sit bones on the ground. So we're feeling the opening along the side body. Let's bring it all the way up. Fabulous. Let's bring those fingertips behind. Let's take the legs bottom, Gadanasana. Whether the hands hit the deck or not, all depends on the bone length of arms and torso, so don't fret about it. Just press those heels away, actively bring the toes back towards us. Gentleness behind the knees, and we sit up tall. And again, if you want to, you can get your gaze looking straight ahead. You can let your head lower all the way down into your chest, or we can stretch it up towards the ceiling. And then gently release. We're going to take our focus down now. We're going to take it to the legs. We're going to come into a gentle twist. We're going to bring this leg all the way up. We're going to take it all the way over, anchoring that foot to the ground, keeping those hips nice and square. Flexing the foot. We're going to inhale, sit tall, rotating all the way around. Hand drops to the ground. And we're thinking about sitting as tall as we can. So there's no force, no wrenching in the fingertips. Rotation comes from the waist upwards. And the nose stays in line with the sternum. And the other foot is actually pressed down into the ground. Fabulous. And then gently release. We're going to take this foot, and I'm not going to torment you with toes today. I'm just going to let that foot loll by the side of the leg. We're going to inhale, interlace those fingers, take it as tall as we can. Before we exhale, take that forward fold, taking it all the way forward. So as we come forward, we're not curling down from the back and we're crunching in. We're thinking shoulders relaxed, lower back relaxed. We're taking our tail feathers out behind. And we're just letting ourselves fall forward as far as it feels comfortable. There's no force. If we're upright, that's equally good. Fabulous. If you want to, you could use a strap and you could lasso that foot if that makes it feel more comfortable. An equally good thing to do. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together into our little cobblers. Now, you know me, I always like a little massage of the tootsies whilst we're in this cobbler position, but feel free to totally ignore me and ignore the feet. It's totally all right. I won't take it too personally. I am trying to think of a total foot-focused yoga session, but I will spring that on you on another day. Sitting tall. Fabulous. Heads loose, shoulders loose, no tension. Brilliant. Now from our sit tall, I'm just going to move my coffee cup, which is not recommended to do yoga with coffee, but it's how Sunday rolls. We're going to take the legs wide, which in my case is not very wide at all. Okay, now for some people this does not feel comfortable. Sit on a cushion, it will make it feel much more comfortable. And it's a Sunday, so bring your legs in a bit closer if that feels more comfortable, which it does for me today. We're going to bring the hand, whichever leg was long, we're going to bring that forearm down in front of that leg. Okay, we're going to take the other arm all the way up in the air. Okie dokie. Now, if you want to, you can take those fingers all the way over and hug those toes. If you want to, you can strap that foot and hold on to the strap. But the key is that the chest is facing the other foot. So we've got that rotation. So you kind of feel more of a stretch in the back of your waistband. Well, you could do. You don't have to, but you may do. Both feet are flexed and the toes are facing the ceiling. And just gently circle that wrist. Oh my. And the other. You could gently wiggle your toes. And let's bring it all the way back up. And from here, we're going to take it to the other side. We're going to take that other foot way over. We're going to hug it in, coming into that simple twist. Now think about squaring up those hips. The leg is long, the foot is flexed. We're sitting tall. We're going to take that rotation, but there's no force. Nose stays in line with sternum. If you want to, you could let it roll down, which increases the stretch. Or you can keep it looking up, facing forward. There's no right, no wrong. Now all these leg positions are going to be leg positions we're going to do as we come up to standing. One more breath cycle here. Fabulous. And then we're going to take that foot and place it somewhere along the long leg. It doesn't have to touch. In fact, it's probably better if it doesn't touch. It doesn't matter where it comes to. We're going to inhale. The hips are square to the long leg. And we're going to exhale and let yourself drift slightly further forward. Now on this leg, I've got much less range of movement. Oh, that's fine. So think about making sure the shoulders are shuffled and relax. Tail feathers are untucked. One more breath in. We're going to scissor all the way up. And then we're going to bring the soles of our feet together in our cobblers. If you want to, you don't have to hold their feet. You can hold the ankles, you can hold the knees. You could even put the hands behind you if that feels more comfortable. And just have a gentle wiggle side to side. Whatever floats your boat. And just think about that relaxation. And that slow, low breath in and out. From here, let's take those feet wide. In my case, it isn't very wide. It's Sunday. Sitting on the block, that feels more comfortable. Taking that forearm, placing it in front of the long leg. We're going to take the other arm all the way up in the air. We're going to take it over, and if you want to, you can hold on to your toes or not. But the key is the chest faces that knee, circling that hand. Over. Over. Remember, you don't have to take the arms overhead. You can just take them across your body. The inclination comes from your shoulders. Fabulous. And from here, going all the way up. So we're going to bring the feet together, and we're going to take it wrong way, into our tabletop. Fabulous. Let's gently cat and cow this spine. Let's take it all the way up. And then breathe it through. Remember, you can take your cat and cow in one plane of motion or in many planes of motion, which basically means wiggling. Or whatever floats your boat. Let's have a think. If you're starting to tense around the shoulders, around the face, give your face a little bit of a wiggle. Or some funny faces. Stretch that face out. As we inhale this time, we're going to come into our tabletop, lengthen through the crown, through the tail feathers, and let's tuck the toes underneath. From here, let's inhale, exhale, take it up into our downward dog. Generous bend in the knees, knees are hip distance apart. Head is between the elbows. We've got that spring in our hands as we press away from the ground. Tail feathers are lengthened. Fabulous. And as it's Sunday, we're just taking a leisurely stroll of our feet towards our hands. Nice and leisurely. When we come here, we're just going to fold our forearms. Just take a gentle sway all the way around. Side to side. So the knees are generously bent. Now, if that doesn't feel good, then remember you can bring your tail feathers down a bit, balance your forearms on your thighs, so your head is up more in line with your tail feathers. It takes any pressure off the blood pressure issues. Or we can just be down here, taking that sway. Brilliant. Let's inhale to flat back position. Elbows close into our side like a chicken. Head is nice and long. And trying to check that you haven't shifted your weight all the way back behind your heels, that you've kept your tail feathers more or less above your feet. Fabulous. From here, exhale, take it all the way down into that forward fold again. And then we're going to exhale on our next big exhale and come all the way up to standing. And I'm just going to move this camera to come all the way up. Brilliant. So we come up into our opened up to open standing, feet facing forward, nice and wiggle and shuggle at the back. Fabulous. We're standing tall. Let's turn our palms to face forward. Relaxing out those shoulders a little more. Let's stick that head right back on top of the spine. And I just want you to close your eyes and think about the feet. You know I was going to talk about feet again. We're going to think about the feet and just where your balance is over your feet. You wear balance way back on your heels. You way forward on your toes. You sort of sway to one side or the other. Now you're sitting on a big ball with a big toe, or you're on the outside spine of your foot. And let's see whether we can press all four corners of the feet. Ball of the big toe with the little toe, the 2 points of the heel into the ground. And we just lift that arch slightly. We engage the legs, lift the kneecaps, quads, glutes. You'll find that core then turns on. Once the core's turned on, which allows you then to put your head back, to stand a little taller. Head and neck is still loose, the shoulders are still loose, standing tall. 2 more breath cycles here. With your fingers, make sure you're not building tension. From here, let's rinse those set of fingers. Inhale, take the fingertips all the way up, overhead, reaching the palms of the hands to the ceiling. And then exhale, let the arms rain down, take a little Strala flap. Lose all that tension. And the arms just come as high or as low as they feel good. Back to standing. Bring it a bit of stillness in the stand. Okay, we're going to play around with our trees today, and we're going to do a couple of variants, and they might tickle your fancy or they might not. If they don't, fine. So if you want to grab a strap, feel free to grab a strap or a block to place your foot on, or even a chair to place your foot on. Equally good. Or use a chair just to balance with. From here, we're going to come into the active standing mountain pose. So we're going to find that balance between all 4 corners of our feet. Okay, we're going to lift up the legs. We're going to make sure that we've not tilted our pelvis one way or the other. It's nicely neutral for us, wherever our neutral happens to be. Okay, once we've got that engagement, without swaying too much to the left, we're going to peel the right leg off the floor. Okay. We're going to bring it up into front march, so the knees more or less at level with the hip, or it's supported on the floor, doesn't matter, or the chair. Okay, from there, we're going to come into regular tree. So we're just going to place the sole of the foot onto the leg. Okay, the standing leg presses into the leg. It's pressing against it. Just make sure whatever you do, you placed it, you haven't placed it on your knees, either above or below the knee. Hands come to heart center. Okay, we're going to take it into a tall tree. We're going to take those hands all the way up and overhead. Brilliant. From there, let's exhale, the next big exhale. I'm going to take the arms wide, like a wide spreading tree. The palms face the ceiling. Now just check, are you now hyperextending your back, or can you bring your pelvis back into its neutral? Just need a little bit of engagement. Think about your shoulders and the face. Fabulous. Breathe it through. And from there, we're going to inhale. Bring the knee back up into its front march. Just circle that ankle and then release it all the way down to the floor. Let's take that Strala flap. Taking rid of all that tension. And keeping that breath nice and low and slow. And we're going to come back to that moment of stillness. We're going to refine our mountain standing position. So first, and also try and find a point in the distance that you can fix your gaze on that will keep you balanced. Let's use our eyes actively. We'll come to closing eyes later, but let's use our eyes actively. Right, now let's balance actively 4 points of the feet, that engagement. The engagement of our legs, into our pelvis, shoulders relaxed. From here, we're going to peel the other foot off the floor. Bring it up into that front march, let's turn slightly sideways. Now, think we've not sunken either way. Our hips are nice and level. We're standing tall. Okay, you can place the foot on the plate, table, cushion, chair, whatever you want. Or you could strap it even, that's also quite a good way. From there, we're going to take it up into our tree. And think about pressing standing leg as much into this leg so we can right this pelvis. I'm just going to hoik up my trousers because my leg is now sliding down my trousers. Which is going to give me to a moment where I can't actually. And if you're wobbling, that's fine. One leg wobbles, one leg doesn't. That'll be this. Once you find your center point, we're going to inhale, reach those fingers all the way up to the ceiling. In a hard tree, 2 breath cycles here. And then we're going to take it into our wide tree, taking the arms out to the side, and we exhale, palms facing the ceiling. Now think about balancing on all 4 points of that standing leg. This means I then start to wobble. And just breathe it through. So facing forward, the knees. It's outwards, but it's not bang out to the side unless your hips are very open. And so from here, we're going to come it back into front march, bringing that knee up. And just circling that ankle one way and the other, and let's place the foot down to the ground, and let's take that strata flat. Let go all that tension all the way up and down. Yes. And from here, we're going to take it to the top of our mat. Okay, so we're going to be making sure you've got room behind because we're going to be stepping backwards. Now, whatever leg that you normally step backwards on, we're going to use the other leg. So I'm going to come to the other end of my mat so I don't end up on my back to you. Okay. So we're going to inhale. As we exhale, we're going to come up into that front march position. Nice and tall. Oops, I'm already started to walk on this side. Side you don't use. Holding it in that front march position. And then we're going to exhale, step big back behind, rotating into our star. Reaching those palms out, squeezing the shoulder blades back together. I like moving star, but you don't have to. Everyone's different. Fabulous. From here, we're going to exhale, sink down into our goddess. Taking a gentle move or total stillness, equally good. Okay, so now I'm going to move slightly sideways, but end up. So from our goddess, we're going to bring our hands to our thighs and come down into a wide leg forward fold. Just angling your toes forward. Okay. And from here, we're going to take the hands down to the ground, but in front. So kind of like a slalom jump. Nice and long back. So the hands can be on a table, on a chair, on a block, whatever tickles your fancy. And from here, we're going to pull one bowstring all the way up to the sky. One arm up. So you can gaze towards your fingers or keep your gaze down towards your hands. And you can be all the way up. It can just sort of flops on the small of your back if that feels good. Or you can just keep it on your waist. And release that hand all the way down to the ground. Let's take our bowstring to the other side. Exhale, pull that bowstring all the way up. Just breathing it through. Fabulous, releasing that hand all the way down to the ground. And from here, we're going to walk our feet closer in together. So we come into our downward dog. Pedaling it through. So the feet are still hip distance apart. And maybe take your arms out a little further in front. Brilliant. From here, we're just going to walk those feet slightly further back so that when we bring our knees down, we can gently belly flop all the way down to the floor. Bringing our foreheads down to the mat. Holding those forearms, placing the forehead on the forearms. Gentle sway of the hips side to side. Brilliant. Here. From here, let's bring the left heel all the way up to the bum. And then the right heel. Making sure the bottom part of the knickers is into the ground. Breathing it through. Don't let your tummy arch off the ground. And then we're going to take it into a lying bow. Option one, you can keep both heels up towards your bottom and just circle them around if that feels better for you. Option two, we're going to let one foot down to the floor. We're going to reach around to grab the other ankle or shin. We'll use a strap and just lasso it. Pressing the bottom part of the knickers to the ground, pressing the heel to the bum. Option one, we can stay forehead to floor. Option two, we can lift the upper body, tuck the toes into the back of the elbow crease, keeping those hips rotated to the floor, chest to the floor. I'm just going to angle this camera just down a bit, breathing it through. And then gently release that all the way down. Let's take it to the other side. Bring that heel up, reaching around and grabbing or lassoing, whatever works for you. Option one, we stay here. Option two, we can elevate and bring it in, but make sure those hips and the chest is square to the mat. And then gently unravel. Fabulous, bring ourselves all the way down. Going to bring zip the legs together, all the way from toe tip, all the way up to the inner thigh, forehead is on the forearms. And then we're going to come into crocodile. Let those heels rotate out to the sides. Turning the left ear down. And we've got 3 breath cycles here. Now remember, if it doesn't feel comfortable for your back to be in this position, place a cushion under your back. Sorry, underneath your tummy. Or come up and come down into child's pose if that feels better for you. Always want to make sure you're not tensing, clenching or holding. Sending that breath all the way down into the ribs. Turn the other cheek down, the other ear down. Everything's still relaxed, released, and not clenching or holding. And the breath is going all the way down. So you can feel lifting your lower back towards your waist, moving as you breathe in. And feel closed down as you breathe out. In the heels all the way up. Let's tuck the toes underneath. And from here we're going to take a roll all the way over onto our backs. So this is where we're going to have choices. So you can grab hold of your cushion, your pillow, and we bring ourselves all the way down to the floor. So if you want to, if you've got a stack of pillows, you can lie back on that stack of pillows. Or if you prefer, you can place pillows underneath your knees or underneath your feet as we come into reclined cobblers. So it's your choice where and how. So I'm placing one onto my feet because I quite like it. There's no right and wrong. And we're going to bring our hands down by our sides, the palms facing the ceiling. I'm just going to refocus on that 6 count in. Then we're going to move into our pyramid breath. I'll count to 3. Breathe in through the nose for 6. We hold. And we breathe out. We breathe in. We hold. We breathe out. We breathe in. We hold. We breathe out. We breathe in. We hold. And breathe out. We breathe in. We hold. We breathe out. just continuing that breath cycle, lengthening our legs long into Savasana. You breathe in, you can feel our body softening and expanding. As we hold, there's no tension. As we exhale, relax, release, and let go. Just letting the breath flow in. And the breath flow out. And that's just gently letting your breath return to its regular rhythm. The breath in, and the breath out. Just a shake of the head side to side. Be gentle with the shoulders. Or the hips. Look at the face to make sure we're not holding any tension there. And then we're going to take that gentle roll over onto our right hand sides and gently press ourselves all the way up to sitting. By the Chinese, you should resist of our choice. Let's interlace those fingers. Inhale. Take it all the way up to the ceiling. And then exhale. All the way down. And again, interlace. Inhale. And then exhale. Fabulous. Loop those shoulders all the way back and down. And thank you very much for joining me on this lovely sunny morning, which promises to be lovely and sunny. So relax, enjoy yourself, have fun, and I'll see you later in the week sometime. Take care, darling. Bye.